When I was a very small boy, I became fascinated by the idea of perpetual motion, even if I didn't call it that. Around my great-grandmother's house were a lot of old, usually worn out or generally not functioning appliances and miscellaneous machines, or parts thereof, whose purpose or use had long been forgotten. These were available playthings with immense appeal, mystery, and adventure for someone apparently destined in life to become an engineer, items from which to create one's own adventure, like play in the bush as distinct from play in the playground. Like Meccano sets versus Lego blocks. Like seeing some meaning and reality in 3, 4, 5 and Pythagoras. May I divert again? This destiny, which along with my Auntie Georgie, Auntie Mame to some, I was made aware of in the 1940s in Saunders Cafe, Adelaide Arcade, a close match to Melbourne's Block Arcade tea rooms, and now sadly foregone in the pressures of modern fast life. Saunders Fair was a match for the tea rooms just as its queues and waits were a fair challenge to the tea rooms. In these crowded and deprived post-war times, a gentleman came and sat at the small table my aunt and I had acquired, having been given my aunt's positive answer to his gentlemanly inquiry. Pleasantries over,
in this long-gone space.
Orders placed, our conversation proceeded down the path of his inquiries as to my future career ambitions and prospects. At this stage the metaphorical crystal ball came out, in the form of his feeling my head for bumps indicative of the answers to questions not yet rehearsed by me. Undaunted by the numbness of my young brain and response, he exposed my future as being full of science and in particular, engineering. A scene of polite pleasantries and parting but not one forgotten. My high school first reading of Macbeth's Witches made no more lasting impact. Auntie Georgie carried this incident right through her life, as I do. Having diverted, I come back to the link between this and my later interest in the science of evolution, stimulated by under the bed covers readings of a first edition issue of Darwin's book, On the Origin of Species, a very dangerous exploit, not for the risk of discovery, but for telltale damage to its Bible-thin wisps of near-blasphemous printed knowledge. So, I had a respectful relationship with inventive people like Einstein, Bach, and Curie, even Hawking and appositely, Nikola Tesla. These people led us into new fields and beyond that, into new truths, new ways of thinking. And so, coming to the subject of space energy. There's no difficulty accepting the theory of the space energy proposal. But my inherent mistrust of snake oil purveyors tells me there are a number of elements to separate. Fundamental theory, scientific reality. Only secondary school knowledge is needed to accept this. Scale. Sometimes it's not that science fails us, rather that more science factors need to be included. Jörn Utzon had to change his roof tiles. A microwave cable carrying terawatts of power? Really? Check financial soundness, viability. Over to the accountants and litigators for this. Check competitiveness and alternatives. These will creep out of the woodwork of their own accord. Ethical, moral, philosophical. A bit hard for a schoolboy, even though in studying higher maths the engaging debaters were from the School of Philosophy at my uni. 1 plus 1 is not necessarily 2, even if core maths rules define it so. Consider safety, danger, risk and injury. Relatively intangible and subjective questions relate to human behavior. How should overall management apply to developmental and operational issues? How would military and political issues be handled in what must be a global enterprise affecting all nations, the whole world? A simple question. Assuming technical and practical difficulties are overcome, it is easy to envisage a monster physical cable, visible and so avoidable in a practical world, transporting power from a sky-based transmitter to an earth-based receiver. A microwave beam, on the other hand, would be invisible, its dangerous boundaries unmarked, unless microwaves can be made to glow in transit, Disney-wise. Or reliable tracking networks established and maintained. The issue of assisted death, even resolved in communities like Netherlands and Sweden, would still not encompass most of humanity. We will probably reach another star's planet and start over again, before that happens. So will we address this question again in 14 billion years? Is humanity trustworthy? Are James Bond and Doctor Strangelove impossible scenarios?